Welcome to Violet Connie Art. Today I have an unboxing of this Himi gouache. I have been waiting for this for about a month and a half, and I ordered it together off Amazon with this, the brushes, and a new Strathmore mixed media book because my old one is now full. And these came within a few weeks. This, on the other hand, only arrived today, and it's been a little bit over a month and a half that this was in post for, so I actually thought I wasn't going to get it, but it is here today and I'm so excited to use it. So I'm going to unbox this and swatch these out and then do some painting, so let's get into it. It's always exciting opening new art supplies for the first time, so when I got into this, the first thing I wanted to do was just get into it and look at all the colours, and so I put them all out onto the table. And then after I did that, I decided that I wanted to put them in my own colour order, what I usually order my palettes in, so that when I do use it that I can go for colours and I know what I'm looking at. It had a really nice purple in there as well. I think it was one of the more opaque colours, which was lucky, and then this is the order that I ended up going with. After that, I put the Google Translate app on and I checked out the writing on there and all the colour names. So there was a titanium white on there, and I'm just showing a few, and a vermilion. I think I also show the crimson one in this clip, and violet. But there was actually a couple where the writing wasn't legible, and so the app wasn't able to pick it up. So for the rest of the colour names, I ended up going online and finding them online and using those to write out what my swatches were. So when I unpeeled them, I heard that these were really difficult to unpeel, but I don't know if I got a good batch, but they were really easy, and then I just placed the lid on nicely back on and then kind of wiped it off to get most of the paint. And they came out really nice looking. It's so nice to open up new paints. I enjoy that process of taking all the lids off, so it's just nice. And then I swatched them out to see how opaque they are. I've only ever really used Winsor & Newton gouache before. I've used Reeves very briefly, but I didn't really like the Reeves gouache. But Winsor & Newton I absolutely adore, and it's really kind of opaque, and you can get such super flat washes with them. And this was very different. The texture was different, and they were a lot less opaque. So they are opaque, but you could see through more of the colours than you can for say, the Winsor & Newton gouache. And I think I'm actually going to go through and do a video in the future comparing the Himi gouache to my Winsor & Newton ones. I still think I do prefer the Winsor & Newton because the texture's just different. So this was more like a paste, these Himi gouache, and Winsor & Newton's more grainy. So the first picture I decided to paint was this landscape, and I wasn't happy with how it turned out, so I actually am going to paint 6 more in this video. So this one was done really quickly, and I figured that I was really struggling with the texture and the consistency and how much water, and I think that's always kind of happens when you get a new art supply that you're not very used to. And so like I said, I wasn't totally happy with how this turned out, but it was a nice kind of start. After I did this piece, I actually turned the camera off and worked on some stuff off camera, and then I came back and started these 6 little landscapes, which for the most part I think that they came out really well. Along the way, I think that the brushes that I bought, they were really cheap, and they kept losing hairs and they wouldn't come to a point and things like that, so I really struggled with the supplies, like the brushes. The Strathmore mixed media book is just flawless. It works exactly how I want it to, and I've had that before, and I really adore that sketchbook. It's just wonderful paper and it works so well, so I had no problem with that. But I don't know if I'll be using these particular brushes very much more after this. They just wouldn't hold a point, and the amount of little hairs that I had to pull out was quite frustrating. So for these little 6 landscape paintings, what I did was I went through and did like a watery wash for each one, and then I went back over and decided to do some details. With each one I tried to do really thin layers to thicker paint at the end, so that I wasn't having problems reactivating what was put down beforehand. One thing I did find this gouache did really well was like a dry brushing technique. because it is so thick and the consistency was so different to what I'm used to, it was so much easier to get that dry brushing effect. But on the other hand, it was also really easy to make too watery, so I kept on not being able to find the sweet spot for that. But overall, I think these are a nice paint to just go nuts with in my sketchbook and not have to worry about wasting the paint too much. There is so much of it, and a little bit goes such a long way. And I've been using them for a week now, and they're not drying out at all. So if you keep the lid on, they're staying very moist, and so that's a nice thing. And yeah, I enjoyed using them. I probably wouldn't buy another set of them, but I think that they're a fun thing to use in my sketchbook. During the last two here, I actually had a bit of a struggle because my camera was running out of battery and out of space, and I was really rushing it towards the end, and so then I waited to the next day to finally actually finish them off and make the video. I'm really happy with how these little landscapes came out, these little scenes, and it's just really neat to have a page in your sketchbook where they are just like all next to each other in a nice little row. There's a little bit of peel porn, although it's a little bit rough this time, even though it's sped up. Yeah, that's it. That's for my pictures that I did for today. You can see me flipping through and some of the stuff I did here. A really quickly slapped together portrait, and then that little floating tree. I love that. And that's it for my pictures for today and my review. I'm going to probably compare Winsor & Newton to Hemi Gouache in the future, so watch out for that video. And if you've enjoyed my video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.